Hey everybody, Invisiblekatana here. I am doing my unboxing, of course, as you guys can see, for the Resident Evil 2 Collector's Edition. As you guys can see, kind of decked out in all my Resident Evil stuff. I was going to wear my Star shirt, but it makes the most sense to just go with RPD, because of course, Resident Evil 2, Leon's costume is RPD, we're in the RPD, so I was like, you know what? For Resident Evil 3, I'll do like my Star shirt all the time, but for Resident Evil 2, you gotta go with like the full-on RPD uniform, or at least shirt. Super excited to do my unboxing for this. I did have to get this off of eBay because I could not freaking get a collector's edition pre-order. Like a lot of people apparently, like they did some insane amount of pre-orders, an insanely small amount of pre-orders apparently for this collector's edition. So no one could get it except for, of course, all the freaking scalpers. So I did end up paying like an extra amount, but it was like, for Resident Evil, it's my favorite franchise, so I was like, I have to get it. I want the statue. Still would have wished, still would have preferred if they just made a Claire statue. I know everybody's like, crazy about Leon, but I was like, man, a Claire statue would have been way sweeter. But I had to get it, all the detail and stuff in the figure and everything like that, and just having it in general, I was like, I gotta get it. So I ended up spending a little bit extra to pick it up. Hopefully I can sell the game that's in here and make a little bit back on that. But we're gonna get things started. Of course, you guys can see right off the top it says Resident Evil 2 Collector's Edition on the top here. We've got the RPD logo. It actually says the year that it was founded, which I thought was kind of cool. So the 1969 thing I thought was interesting. I don't think I ever actually knew that before. Of course, on the back, it's basically just like a game case where it's just like, here's everything that's in it. You kind of already know what's in it. But man, I think it's super cool. And of course, when we get in the PS4 version, I thought this was clear. I've seen unboxings of it and stuff. I thought that this was just like a clear plastic wrapping, and I thought all the black was actually on the box. So I was kind of surprised when I first checked this out. I haven't actually taken this all the way out yet, but I noticed when I looked at it, I was like, oh, it's actually not clear like I thought it was. I thought it was just a plastic wrapping on the outside of it, and then you just get like the actual you just see the box, but it is its actual own case, so that's actually kind of cool. Then of course we have the item box, which once again was one of the things I was like, oh man, when I first saw the actual unboxing, I was a little disappointed. I was like, oh okay, I thought it was going to be like a real box, but also makes sense. It would have been way more than $200 if we ended up getting like an actual a real life box. So that kind of makes sense. One thing that does suck about this is that like I just took the tape off, and like the tape took some of the RPD sticker off, so it's like it really is just a box. Like it's just a plastic, it's just a cardboard box, and it has like some like little shiny bits on it, like the actual lines, like you can see better, like you can see how reflective it is when it's right there compared to like being right here. But it's all just tape, like it's all just like painted on. And that's really it. Like just me taking the tape off. It's like, oh, cool. Yeah, there you go, perfect. So it's like, that kind of sucks. Like stuff like that. Like it's the tiniest little thing. Odds are that I'm not ever gonna actually have the whole box out because it's like it's just a box. It's the same as for anyone who has like the Fallout 4 Collector's Edition. You have the giant box, but you would just take that out anyway and just show off the actual Pit-Boy replica inside. So it's kind of the same concept, except that's an actual like plastic crate. Like even if this was actually plastic, that would have been something. It's legitimately just thick cardboard. Like you can see the lines of the cardboard. And I was like, oh cool, the nice painting. As long as the tape isn't tearing it off like it is on both sides of mine, which does legitimately suck. Because it's like every once in a while I might want to look at it. It's funny, like it's not tearing like horribly, where you can like hear it normally, but it's just tearing. It's tearing, like it tore right there. So it's just both sides. It's just normal tape. So that's somewhat disappointing. That was another thing. Once I officially found out about this, that was the big thing where I was like, oh, well, I have even less interest in the deluxe edition for Devil May Cry, because Devil May Cry, theirs is I think it's $150, and you get the van, you get another box which seems to have like some random painting and stuff like that. This is my phone right here, which is what I'm using. That's my remote right now. And it's just like, it's like I'm not as interested in that, especially after I found out it's an official box. So here, of course, is the game deluxe edition version. This is actually, it has like the little game credit award thingy on it. It's actually funny that it came on this side. Actually, no, it's not, because it always starts with Leon, because everyone's all over Leon. But I just flipped my cover, because this is a reversible cover for anyone who didn't know. But I just flipped my cover back to Leon because I did his B campaign and now I'm doing his A campaign. So whichever character I'm playing as, that's what I flipped the cover to. But that's the, that's the front. That's the back for anyone who hasn't seen it. And for anyone who has not seen this, the one thing I don't like about the reversible cover is that when you switch it to Claire, this isn't on the back. It's just more like the background. It's just more of the rain and stuff. And I just thought that was kind of weird. I was like, normally when you do that, you have two separate pictures on the front, and then the back is always the same. Like, it's always the info, so it's like, oh, you can flip it over. Even though, I mean, you don't read this that much anyway, but normally that's what it is. Like, the front is different, but the back is the same. Or both sides at least have a unique image. And it's literally just like on the back of Claire's, it's just rain. It's like, it's not even anything cool there. It's not like they put something extra to replace it. It's just Claire. The other thing is, the one thing I don't like about this is that I actually prefer the original cover for the game. Like, the deluxe edition is cool. It's like, oh, it's reversible. You have Claire and then Leon. But I like the original one because it's Claire and Leon on the front. I actually prefer that, if I'm being totally honest. Like, I like that image more than just one of the characters at a time. So I thought that was interesting. It was like, man, I actually prefer the regular edition cover to the deluxe edition cover. So that, that's an interesting little thing. Also, of course, this being the US version of the collector's edition, this is the little code for the soundtrack, so I'll be keeping that safe. The big thing with this, of course, is that the US version sucks compared to the UK version. We get less items, and we don't even get the steelbook. Like, that's insane to me that you don't get a steelbook case. So that just, in a million different ways, that kind of sucks. But it is, I guess it is what it is, really. But that is the start of the collector's edition. Then, of course, we go right into our map of the Raccoon City Police Department. Mine is already bent up, which is super annoying. Like, I don't know if you guys can actually see the creases on the top here. Yeah, you can't even really, you can kind of make it out, but also, it's folded. So this is one of those things where it's like, it really doesn't make much of a difference. I was never going to really put this up, but this is cool. It says, we pray that this new police station shall be an everlasting symbol of peace for all of Raccoon City. Stevenson and Mitchell Construction Company. So, here's the back, which is kind of cool. I think it's just the first floor, if I'm not mistaken. 1F, if you will. Yeah, main hall, dark room. Yeah, this is the first floor. So, you got that, and then you have kind of like the visual representation of, I guess, the first two floors, technically, or no, actually, this is all three floors. Yeah, so this picture up top is actually all three floors. Obviously, it's not every room for all three floors, but it is all three floors, so that's kind of cool. And then on the other side here, we have the actual the front of the building, which is pretty sweet. So there you go with that. Clock tower, stuff like that. So there you go. Like I said, with this being folded up, it was automatic. It was one of those things where it was like, it's cool, but it's always just going to be like a folded image. And I also hate these. I suck. Every time I unfold anything that's folded up, I never freaking remember how to do it right. And I think I did that wrong for sure. But either way, it doesn't really matter. So this will pretty much be in the box forever. And I don't think I'll never have much of a reason to take it out. But there's the map. Also, smells super weird. Like, it was legitimately like messing me up when I was trying to talk because it smells like insanely fresh. I'll actually put this over here. So this says, written authorization required to read this file. Warning, file must not be removed from premises. This information is top secret. So they've got 4 checks on here. It's top secret, secret, confidential, and sensitive. And of course they checked top secret right at the very top there. Now, this is the one thing I've noticed as far as the European version. Also, what the F? Why did I get like, the one version I buy, I've got like every effing thing is wrong. Like, I've got like the tiniest, I've got like a little, yeah, you can see it right there. Every freaking thing I got in here. What the heck? It's almost as if it was already open, but I know for a fact it wasn't. Because there's no way they could have possibly taken that tape off without tearing it. But the one thing about this version, the US version compared to the UK version, is this book is hardcover. That's legitimately like the one thing. Is like they traded in, they got a softcover version, but they also got like the 4 keys. They also got, I think the UK version gets a physical version of the disc, of the alternate soundtrack. Or no, you get a digital version for the soundtrack, but you also get a physical version to actually listen to yourself. There is a pin that is Claire's coin, or not coin, Claire's symbol, the Made in Heaven thing. I said coin because the pin actually looks like a coin. That's what I thought it was at first, but it's just a pin. So you get the keys, you get a pen, you get a physical copy of the game soundtrack, and the steelbook that also comes in the UK version. So the one thing that we got, hardcover. So that's like our one one thing that we've got for this. But this is cool. I definitely love this. Lots of posters and stuff that you see within the game, things like that. Bunch of stuff that I don't truly recognize. Mostly these ones on the left here. Don't really recognize any of those, but definitely like this. And I thought this was cool when I first saw it, actually. And I thought the book looked ridiculously huge when I first looked at it. It seemed like it was insanely huge, but decent sized book. Put it with my other hardcover stuff once I figure out the sizing for all that. But this is nice. It shows all the all the different elements here. It seems to actually show them based on these pictures. It looks like it's the actual models from the game. Like this isn't like art. It actually looks like it's it looks like the debug mode. Like they took the camera and just put it places, and they legitimately took pictures. So I thought that was interesting. And this says, several photos showing suspicious silhouettes were found on rolls of film. The evidence was to be carefully scrutinized to determine whether these silhouettes are human or whether they depict the beginnings of the incident. Okay, that's cool. So they have like a little picture here. And this one, clearly that's like a zombie. I would imagine. At least it's not just some random idiot kind of banging on the windows of the RPD. But I like this. It's kind of cool. You get to see like random, like this right here. It's just a picture of a couch. It's like, I don't know why they did that, but that interests me. One of the weird things that I'm getting from looking at this book is that I wish they had a photo mode in this game now, which I wish before it came out. I knew that wasn't going to happen because I'm like, it's Resident Evil. They aren't going to bother with a photo mode for, Resident Evil 2. But I do like video game photography from time to time because it's super fun. If you don't do it, you should try because it's really entertaining. And I was like, man, I wish Resident Evil would get that, especially with the way it looks now. So maybe if we push hard enough, we can get that for the Resident Evil 3 remake, especially since that'll be like all over the city and you can get pictures of all sorts of stuff. But this is really interesting because it's legitimately like images. It's basically images from within the game. Like all the images are 3D images and stuff of like Chief Iron's office and things like that. But it's all done within the render of the actual game. So all that stuff is like CG and everything. So that's actually very interesting. I don't know why I like that so much, but for some reason it's just like that just makes it cooler. Like this picture right here, I don't know how well you'll be able to tell, but basically the focus is on the ceiling fan and everything else in the background is kind of blurred. That's like a legitimate photo where you would like blur out the background and stuff like that, and it's just like weird that that's what they chose to do with this book. And it's like, man, I wish we had a debug mode so I could do this in the game myself. So this is actually cool because it's like the one little taste I get to have of some video game photography from Resident Evil 2, unless they decide to randomly throw it in, which would be utterly amazing. We actually have a picture of Leon here. The Leon referred to in this banner is thought to be Leon S. Kennedy, a rookie cop due to be assigned to the RPD. See file number 05872 for details. Those photos of the offices show various tactical plans and memos. These have been drawn up in response to the incident. Photo of the newspaper. The focus is too blurry to make out any of the dates on these articles. If it was possible to date this newspaper, we might be able to determine when these photos were taken. So it's interesting, like this book itself also kind of has its own story. And it says, photos of the area surrounding the desk of the survivor Chris Redfield, number 654458. Chris Redfield is the brother of Claire Redfield, who is also involved in the incident. See file number 05873 for details. Yeah, so it's interesting. Like this book has its own story of like people going in after all the chaos kind of took place within the game a little bit. Like that's kind of what this file is sort of meant to be. And that's very interesting. It's like, oh, that's very interesting. So Resident Evil 2 art book, Ben's file, supervision, Resident Evil 2 research and development staff. So that's super cool. So that's the book. Of course, you guys can probably find some other videos where they show like every single picture in it in full detail, but I definitely like that. I think it's very interesting. Like I said, for me personally, I think it's super cool because it's kind of like they just did actual photos they did do photos within the engine, kind of like a debug mode. So that's super cool. Then of course we get the main event here. And that is of course Resident Evil 2 Leon Scott Kennedy. So this is the figure. This is the big bad piece of the entire thing, and this is what it was all about. I feel like that I'll just shatter it or something crazy. This is what it was all about right here. I always kind of hate when there's tape on it. I thought for once this would be the first time that somebody didn't put tape on it, and I could just lift this thing right up, and it would be nice and simple for me. But like I mentioned earlier, I still wish they did a clear figure. I wish they did both, or heck, just a clear figure. I mean, I'm a bigger fan of Claire than I am of Leon. And I know everybody loves Leon because of 4, because no one really. I don't know. I wish I could kind of go back in time and be like, who really cared more about Leon than they did Claire? Like, granted, Leon is technically the guy who existed in the original version of 2, or Resident Evil 1.5 as it's known now, and Claire was made after the fact when they decided to replace Elsa. But still, it's just like, almost knocked my phone down and everything. Okay, I didn't realize this thing is ridiculously huge. Like, his legs are like this. His legs are like, it seems like his legs are twice the length of his head, but it's not. It's like actually super close. Then we have, stuck in there pretty well, his flashlight and his gun. Make sure don't lose that. That is insane. So there's a decent close-up for you guys. You can check him out. There's Leon. Oddly enough, like this, he actually looks like he does in 6. Because that's like his thing now, where he likes to have the gun and the flashlight. That's like that's like the new thing they made for him. I think since 4 technically. But this is really cool. I almost wish you could take these handcuffs out. Like, everything else is so detailed. Like, that is insane, and it smells like insanely fresh. It's so weird. Oh, the little cord for his talkie moves. That's cool. I'm gonna sit him down for a sec so I can actually. And he stands up on his own. You actually don't even need the base if you don't want it. Pop this out here. There's even more tape involved. I should have kept my kunai next to me so I could chop this thing open. Let's slip this out of here. This is the base. Raccoon City, or Raccoon Police, says RPD, like cut off at the top, which I think is very interesting. It's actually the exact same symbol that's kind of on the other stuff in the box. Has Leon's name on it. That'll zoom in. You can kind of see it in the reflection. There you go. So that's kind of cool, and it's actually like etched in too. So that's pretty sweet. That's that. Here's his gun. Oh, it even says Matilda on it. That's interesting. I don't know how well that's going to do it, but there's his gun. Tiny little thing, obviously, for his figure. And then we got his flashlight, which is like, it's a little bit longer than his gun, actually. But there it is. I mean, obviously the flashlight is legitimately nothing special in any way, shape, or form. Plant him down. Right. So the one thing about the base is that it's like super hollow. Like it feels so weird that it's so plasticky, considering how insanely detailed the actual figure itself is. You actually have to like spread his legs out a little bit to get him all the way on here. There we go. Boom. And if I remember right, gun goes up here. And then the flashlight will go in his other hand once I can actually get this one in. I always hate having to do this. Like on all figures, I always thought this was like the hardest part when you have to like squeeze the things in between their hands. It's like, do I go between the fingers or do I just jam it all the way down into the hand? Because neither one seems to really work too well. But it is cool that the figure has like kind of the rubber fingers so that you can actually do it this way. And it still seems like it's hard to get like a decent positioning on this gun. There we go. It just feels like his hand is like a little bit too far away from the gun, but you can't really see it from this angle, so it's totally fine. Then this, the super easy part, I hope. Yeah, there we go. Boom, there we go. Much easier, but still. There it is. Full on Leon Scott Kennedy. Got the Matilda. Got the flashlight. Ready to go. Looks good. Lots of good detail here. And this is what I was talking about. You can move that. Nothing else comes off, but you can, obviously with the pieces being separated, you can take the gun off and put it here. Actually, it doesn't seem like it goes all the way down, which is weird, but it's supposed to, I would imagine, because you can take it off. Yeah, I might have to force that a little, but it seems like it goes, actually no, it doesn't seem like it actually goes all the way down. Yeah, because it's basically the same size as it, so I don't think that actually does do that like it's supposed to. Or maybe mine is once again just like crazy jacked up. And I've got like all the weird stuff going on with mine. Yeah, so maybe you're not supposed to be able to do this, but I thought you could. Maybe I got like the super crazy jacked up one. I don't know. I'm gonna have to check out some other ones because I think the piece for even the flashlight, it looks like it's filled in pretty much. So I don't think you're supposed to be able to actually do that. It just looks like you can because there is a space here, obviously, because he has the gun in his hand. So that makes sense, but that's one of the weird things that I thought about it. Even when I first saw it, it was like, okay, so you can take the gun in and out of his hand, but normally you get that with figures where it's like, okay, I can replace the hand, because if you take the gun out and the flashlight out, he's just doing this, like he's about to, like it's morphin time or something, and he's about to do some Time Force type junk. So I don't know. It's interesting that you could take it out, and maybe they did that just for the purpose of packing it, and that just makes it a bit easier for them because they didn't want to have it as one solid piece, which does help. As someone who has had a figure, oddly enough, the Resident Evil 5 Collector's Edition came with the Chris Redfield figure, much smaller than this, but it did have the gun, and it was just like one solid figure, and the hand broke. The hand with the gun broke, and it broke like clean too. It was almost like someone just like sliced his hand off. It was weird, but maybe that was why. I don't know if they were going backwards in time to Resident Evil 5, and like a bunch of people, had the arm break off. I think it had a lot more to do with the fact that this figure is so huge. So instead of like adding a weird dimension like at this angle and having it in the hand and stuff like that, keep her separate, make the fingers rubbery. Like everything else is really solid, but his fingers are a bit rubbery, like a figure would be if you could move different weapons in and out of the hand, even though it's just the Matilda, and then this is literally just closed and you just stick the flashlight right in. But an amazing figure. Like, it's insane how big this thing is when I like really look at it. It's like, holy crap, this is an insanely huge figure, but very well detailed. Definitely love it. Definitely glad I picked it up because this is really what I wanted, so I'm glad that I got it. Love that on the back. That is super cool. Now we just need them to randomly decide, hey, let's put out a clear figure too. Hopefully, since it won't be the game plus all the other stuff, it could be super cheap, but that probably won't happen no matter what. But I would love for them to do a clear Redfield figure. Whatever they end up doing with the Resident Evil 3 remake, if they do a collector's edition, which of course they will, that becomes a big question. It's like, would I rather have a figure of Jill, or would I rather have a foot-tall Nemesis figure? Because if they did Nemesis, and kind of like with Leon, where you could take like the rocket launcher out of Nemesis' hands, that would be insane. Like, I would love a figure like that, but it's almost like I prefer to have Jill just because of the main characters more than the villains. But either way, gotta wait for that stuff. But for now, got Leon, got him in his RPD uniform, got his Matilda, got his flashlight, have him nice and prepped, ready to walk down some super dark hallways or do something random because the game is freaking insane and I love it. But this is a really fun figure. I like this collector's edition. Like I said, I'm glad I picked it up. Still hate this. I will always hate this for all eternity. No matter how many figures I get, I will always hate having to decide how to put stuff in like figure hands. And it feels so weird. It's like his fingers won't just come out and go all the way around the gun. That's like the one thing. But it looks good from this side, but on this side it's just like I can see the extra spacing. So it just feels like his fingers aren't all the way out, but they probably are. But like the figure, I like the whole setup. I mean, really for me it was getting the figure and getting the book, because of course I bought the deluxe edition of the game, so hopefully I can sell that off. But I'm glad I got this. Box is cool. Obviously, if they were gonna do a legitimate box, like a legitimate item box with latches and everything, this would be more than $200. So you know, I understand why it's kind of in that realm, but this is cool. I like the figure. I like the book. I wish it was the UK version. Honestly, it's so much sweeter. Like I wish I could have found that for at least close to the price that I got this, because I probably would have paid even more than I already did for this version to get, you know, the 4 keys, the physical soundtrack, the pen, the steel case. I don't know, because this is actually the image. That's the image that's on the steel case. So oddly enough, the way that this kind of works is that every newer version, or I guess every better version, depending on how you want to look at it, for the case, I don't like. So like I like the original the most. The deluxe edition is, I think, is like, okay, that's cool. You can flip one side Leon, one side Claire. And then the steelbook version of the case, it's just black and it's just like the one zombie mouth. And I'm like, that just doesn't look nearly as cool to me. So I'm actually fine without the steelbook case being in there. It's like, I probably, even if I, you know, wanted to keep it and I didn't have it already, I'd probably sell off the steelbook case as well. Because I'm just like, I just don't think it looks as cool as the deluxe edition, which I also don't think looks as cool as the regular edition, where they're both on the front at the same time. But that's just my opinion on the matter. I would love to know what you guys thought about that as far as like the cases and the covers. They did the same for Devil May Cry. So the original cover, they're walking away, but if you get the deluxe edition, the characters are actually walking towards you. In that case, I think the deluxe edition is cooler because I like the characters walking towards you, because you actually see their faces instead of just their backs. I don't know if what they're going to do for the Steelbook edition, but hopefully it's cooler than what they did for this one. We might not get it either way because it's the US. But yeah, got the figure. So that was like my main thing going in for this. Of course, would love to know what you guys thought about the collector's edition for RE2, this Leon figure. Your thoughts as far as them doing Leon versus Claire. Would you have preferred Claire? Do you wish that they did both? I would have loved it if they did both. That I would have lost a lot more money in that case, because I would have found a way to get both of these figures without a doubt. Or if they did one figure where it was like, you know, even if it was a 6-inch figure, but it was both the characters, I would have been fine with that too. Because even if it's not just like one cool tall figure, a nice 6-inch figure is fine, especially if it's both characters and they're, you know, kind of like they are in the original cover for RE2, or for this version of RE2, where they're kind of aiming at like different enemies and stuff, but they're next to each other, but they're aiming like side to side. That would have been sweet. I think that would have been a great figure, even if it was half the size of this. A decent amount of detail, wouldn't have to be as crazy, smaller base, something like that. Or if they had zombies on it, that would be a whole diorama thing, which would be super fancy. But I think that would have been cool. But would have loved Claire. I think Claire would have been cool. Claire would be visually more appealing as well with the red versus the blue. Even though blue is my favorite color, navy blue is not. It's like it's fairly dark unless you got a decent light on it. But for Claire, it's the red and stuff like that, like reddish pink, pretty much. I think that would have looked cool, even if it was the jacket, which is like legitimately red. So even if it was the newer version of her character, I still think I would have preferred that more than Leon. But I had to get the figure either way because I love the game so much. But like I said, definitely want to know what you guys thought about the collector's edition, the items in it. This version versus the UK version. If you were fortunate enough to get that, congrats. I really want those keys, like super bad. Like I've seen an unboxing and they're legitimately metal, and it's just like, I want that so freaking bad. But oh well, I just won't have it. But I like this. Wish they did Claire. Hopefully when the collector's edition for 3 comes out, who knows? Like either way, whether it's Nemesis or Jill, I'm gonna want it and I'm gonna get it, and I won't screw up this time. I'll get my pre-order in, so I won't pay extra for it. But definitely want to know your thoughts on that. What do you guys want to see for Resident Evil 3 Collector's Edition? Nemesis, Jill, not old Nemesis, but old Jill costume, whatever they're gonna do as an updated version. I don't know what they would do to change her costume unless they completely switched it, like kind of like they did with Claire. But we'd love to know your thoughts on that. So please put your comments down in the comment section below. And of course, thanks for checking this out. And like I said, definitely want to know what you guys think about the figure, the edition, everything that they're doing with Resident Evil 2 in general. And I did do a Let's Play. I've done all of Claire A and Leon B. I'm still uploading the Leon B stuff, but I've uploaded all of Claire's campaign, Claire A. So definitely check that out. I should have mentioned that in the very beginning, like, hey, you guys can check out other Resident Evil stuff on my channel. But done Resident Evil 2. I've actually done Resident Evil 0 as well. And also 7 is on my channel. So you guys can check out some old Resident Evil stuff. But recent game, 2 other Resident Evil games. At some point, I'm going to do like all the Resident Evil games that I actually own. So that's kind of down the pipeline. But you guys can check out some other Resident Evil stuff that I got on my channel. So please put your comments down in the comment section below. And of course, thanks for watching.